The other thing I want to do, though, is I want to go through the scenario a little bit, like with, for example, the IoT scenario with the breathalyzer. I'm doing these in just random order, not how it's going to flow through, but so kind of bear with me. But it's kind of cool. I want to make sure I get some cool ones first before we run out of time. So how this would play out is, first thing I got to do in Bluemix is there's other pieces that are part of the puzzle. I have this TWI sensor. This is my breathalyzer sensor application. It's a Node.js application, and it looks a lot like this. Not real fancy, but there it is. Maybe you'll notice in the right upper corner there's some numbers, and I'm writing those numbers down. Those numbers are the device ID of this thing that's connected to the internet. So everything that's connected to an internet needs to have a unique address. This is the unique address of this thing, okay? And for the demo, it gets generated every time I bring it up in a browser. And the fact that I got that ID in there tells me that he successfully went out and connected to the external message site system that we have configured in here, right? And he connected to that message site, and he's made that bootstrap, and now I have a simulated device sitting out there. Now, this device is not of much value unless I have an application that's capable of reading this data and processing that data, okay? So that's where this other application comes into play, where we have a Internet of Things, the Internet of Things gateway app, I guess I call it, in that this is the Node.js application that reads the device data and processes it. Now, it's a Node.js application, but the interesting thing that we did is we used a capability that's also available in Bluemix called the Node-RED flow editor, right? So in Bluemix, you can just bring up the flow editor, and now you can graphically, sort of visually create some code that gets generated in the background for you, but you don't really see the code. But the idea is they have input nodes. So this Node-RED has an input node to be able to read from an IoT device. So just any device that has a MAC address, I want this flow to pick up information from this specific device. Now in this flow, he reads from my breathalyzer. We have a little function that includes some JavaScript that basically takes the input data that we got from the device, generates basically a new very simple JSON formatted output for me, and he puts that output to another topic on the message in the MQLite system that now my Java app is subscribed to listening to. So now, once this thing flows through, my Java app will be able to pick up this information and use the breathalyzer information to influence trades by my intoxicated user. So, so I could have had all this set up, but I wanted to kind of show you a little bit, right, in that we can just go ahead and modify this on the fly and do it. And if I get these numbers right, 841476 D5 F4F, a little dyslexia here. So that's the device ID that I wrote down, and hopefully that's correct. And once I've done that, simply redeploying the Node-RED app will redeploy, get this app out there and running. And if don't know if you actually did see it, a little banner came up and said the app was deployed and ready to go, and it is. So now I have a simulated device. I have an application that knows how to read that device, and now I've got a Java app that I've got to do something with to know how to be able to work with that information that's going to come back. So let me go back to my CloudTrader app, and what we did in the demo is we've integrated some additional fields in the user profile to where we have him register the device. Okay, so he has to come in here and he's going to register his device. And I update the profile. And the other thing I got to do is I have this TWI indicator. You ask, what is TWI? TWI is the trading while intoxicated indicator. It's real technical terms. The idea is if it's set to 0, I don't care about any of the readings coming in from my drunk user. If I set it to 1, that means that in my application, the logic we built in, that means the reading that he breathed in is valid for 1 minute, right? So if you can do as many trades as you want for 1 minute, he's pounded beers, And he needs to get those trades in before we force him to breathe again. So that's what that means. So the idea now is, if I configured this all successfully, if I send some new data in from my breathalyzer, my simulated breathalyzer would have gone onto the message queue, my application would have picked it up, and now if I come back into my portfolio, please, crap, I didn't get it right. I didn't get it right. Oh, I might have, who knows? Because I took a reading. I should have not taken a reading first. But the idea is now, I still don't know if it worked, okay? Sorry, guys. I kind of messed the demo up. But there's a saving grace here, right? Oh, man. I can go to point 10, and this shouldn't work. Okay, so let me go back here, and now that I've blown I blow a higher number. Now he comes up and starts giving me some errors in that red banners across the top, telling me that I've got to blow, I've got to blow a better reading. So he's basically not going to let me do anything. Trying to sell and buy stocks, this is not going to let me do it. Okay, until I come back to my sensor and I blow below a 0.8, right? Come back in, same thing, hit my portfolio, and now I'm good, and I can start selling some stocks. Okay, so that's that kind of demo, and it's off the cuff, a little humor, but it's kind of some things that you can do. Now, I was at Interconnect, and there was a company. It was a speedboat racing. I think it was sponsored by Lucas Oil or something out there. These guys are on the main stage, right? This is boats screaming across the lake at over 100 miles an hour, and they're trying to find innovative ways to be more competitive and advance their opportunities to win. And they decided that what they want to do is they contacted IBM, and they worked on a project for 3 weeks, from my understanding, and they built a Bluemix application that included readings from various sensors that they put on the boat. So I don't know what it could have been: oil pressure, temperature, all kinds of readings on the boat. Put sensors on the drivers in the boat, heart rate, temperatures, whatever you could imagine they did. And all these readings came into the Node-RED flows inside Bluemix, and they showed us what these flows kind of look like, not all the details, but the flows look like. And then they interacted with that data into the Watson Analytics services that are also available on Bluemix. And they sent all that data to that Watson dude up there, and he analyzed that stuff and came back in real time and told the guys on the shore, as that boat's screaming across the lake at 100 miles an hour, things that they can do to improve their situation, right? That's pretty incredible, right? So I liked it. Much more fancy than what I built. But.
We have a limited budget. Yeah.